After Yuvragi's speech, मुझे लग रहा है मुझे मारवाड़ी सीख लेनी चाहिए. But I'll start with this. Have you ever met an astrologer? The kind who sits outside Amer Fort. They wear multiple rings. And they look into your palm as if your entire fate is etched in those lines. This line tells you that you're going to be creative or logical. Maybe you're not going to be so lucky in life. Maybe you're not so smart. And just for a moment, just for one moment, we believe them. But what if they're wrong? What if talent is limited, but our ability to learn something is not? I should know, right? I'm a medical doctor who switched careers and became a corporate professional. It's a completely different field. Now, a few years back, if you would have asked someone, can she work in business, they would have laughed. I think I would have too. The thing is, I've always been a bit of a last bencher. You know, an average student sitting at the last, no one should see me. So when I switched careers, it was a bit of a shock. But over time, I learned that everything that I learned had a butterfly effect on my life. And not only my life, but more importantly, my 20s, the most troubled years. We've all heard about the butterfly effect, right? It was a term coined by a meteorologist who said that a wing flap made by a butterfly in one part of the world can cause a tornado in another part of the world, or even prevent it. Imagine a wing flap here can cause a tornado there. Quite powerful. Now, in medicine, learning is a continuous process. Even senior doctors, they attend CMEs every weekend to stay updated with the latest developments in the field. There is a core belief there that everything can be learned. Every single thing can be learned. I had a senior professor. He often used to tell me that your ability to learn something is not a measure of your IQ or your intelligence, but it is more about the 3 E's. It is about your effort, it is about your education, and it's about the time you put in something, which is, I don't know what the 3rd E is now. So when I switched careers, I went with that mindset. On my first day in the office, I remember the task I was given was to prepare minutes of a meeting and present a color-coded Excel. Now, I don't know how many people have used an Excel here. It's quite simple to figure out. But at that time, I'd only used a laptop to watch films, download music, and just have fun. Excel was an icon that I'd seen and shoved in one of the corners. So imagine my surprise and my shock. I was completely clueless. I sat next to my senior on a wooden stool, and I looked at him, and I was very clueless. That night, I turned to my only mentor. Do you know who that mentor is? I think most of us in this room would have the same mentor. It is YouTube. I watched multiple videos, paused, rewinded, replayed multiple sections of those videos to understand what Excel is, and so that I could draft a mediocre report, if not much. Next day, I submitted the report, and my manager had to rework everything before submitting it further. So there I was, a medical doctor from one of the most prestigious institutes in the country, being lost and feeling quite stupid. Over the next few days, I also noticed that people who know Excel and such skills, the latest skills at that time, were the most coveted resources in the project. They were always asked for, people always wanted them in the team. And I wanted that. I wanted to be liked and wanted in a team. So I decided I'm going to learn Excel. But, some haphazard learnings don't really get you there. A few months later, an opportunity came. It was a very data-heavy project. I have to admit, I lied a little to get that project. I told them, I know Excel very well, just take me. So over the next few months, I developed shortcuts, learned pivot tables, made macros. Maybe the Excel gurus here know what macros are. I automated my sheets. I was so obsessed with Excel that at one time, Control-C, Control-V were coming in my dreams. Control-Shift-L used to walk past me in my dream. And at one point, I kid you not, I woke up from a nightmare thinking that my Excel sheets are deleted. So the project ended, everything went well. A few days later, my manager reached out to me. He said that, Ruchi, I want you to present your findings to the global leadership team. Imagine, the global leadership team. I first pretended I didn't hear him. I said, are you sure you're speaking to the right Ruchi? And I said, maybe you want to speak to someone else. He said, Ruchi, I want you to present the project. So there I was, fumbling on Excel, going through YouTube, to now presenting a data-heavy project to the global leadership team. All eyes were on me. This is the butterfly effect, right? Something that I thought I just wanted to learn to be liked by the team members turned out to be something that helped me gain eyeballs in the most senior people in the organization. Now, Carol Dweck, who's a Stanford psychologist, talks just about that. She talks about, oh, I should be using this now. And it's not working, da-da-da. Damn. Okay, so we'll be here. So she talks about the growth mindset. She says that the brain is wired for learning. She found that people who have a growth mindset, now let's break down the growth mindset. It just says that people who believe that they can learn anything, not master, just learn an ability. She said that people who have a growth mindset have more neural connections in the brain as compared to people who don't. What does that mean? They have more neurons per unit area of the brain than people who don't. They furthered this study. They conducted a study in about 160,000 US school students. 160,000 US school students, and found that students who have a growth mindset tend to outperform their peers in maths and reading. Imagine, outperforming your peers, even those with higher IQ. So powerful. Then another study came, and they followed students over the long term. And they found that students don't only outperform their peers in the short term, even in the long term, their chances of success in life are multifold. So, what I really took away from this is that just the effort of learning, just the mindset of learning rewires your brain to take on bigger challenges and accumulate more information. Now let's switch gears. We've all been, young, dumb, and lost in our 20s. That was me. A few years back, I was sent to Benin, which is a French West African country, in the middle of nowhere, very different from the culture that we have in India, on an assignment. I was very underconfident. See, I'd switched careers, I'd only been in a hospital, and then worked in an office, and now I was sent to a different country. So I was very underconfident, very weak, very unsure. I physically felt like I couldn't do anything. I didn't know how to get a win. In our 20s, no one tells us this. We are going to be lost, and that it is okay. So I was desperately trying to get a win. I didn't know who to ask for help from. I can't say that everything was in abundance. I had great family support. Financially, things were okay. I didn't really need someone to tell me that it's okay. But I still could not get a win for myself. I went to the room in Benin, and I cried a lot. A few weeks later, came back home and cried more. That day, I decided that if not anything else, if not any other aspect of my life I can control, I'll control just one thing, and that was my body. Maybe I could move and get fitter, and that would help a little. So next day morning, I went for a run on the street. Mind you, I was wearing two sizes too big a shoe, my dad's shorts, and a t-shirt that I wore last night. And I woke up at around 6 a.m. for that run. But that 6 a.m. was a very strategic time. It was when no one could see me stumble and fall. No one would be awake, right? What was also interesting is my body would not create a shadow with light so that I would see the irregularities of the silhouettes of my body and feel ashamed of it. I know it's very twisted, but trust me, at that time, it made a lot of sense. I did that for a few months, made no progress, like 0 to no progress. Again, pushed to the corner. I was like, okay, I'll start like attending a structured gym program. There are quite a few now. And showed up to the class. On first day, I apologized to my trainer for showing up. I said, I'm sorry, I'm too slow. I'm sorry, I don't know how to lift the weights right. I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time. I'm sorry that I'm taking up so much space. Imagine, apologizing for taking up space. I sent this message to my trainer, and I told her that I wanted to make sure that I don't cause any inconvenience with my entry. So I'm going to withhold entering right now. She said something, and then she said, just continue to come, you'll be fine. So I went the next day, and she started with the absolute basics. She taught me how to stand. Imagine, she taught a 20-year-old how to stand. So she told me, retract your shoulders, engage your core, power through your quads, and ground your feet. Quite simple. And then we started with doing deadlifts. You know what deadlifts are? You lift weights like this. It's just very simple. We started with a weightless PVC pipe, a weightless PVC pipe. For 6 months, I just worked on a weightless PVC pipe to get my form right. Imagine how uncoordinated I was at that time. Meanwhile, my friend next to me was lifting 100 kgs every day. So it was quite slow. It was a very painful process. Fast forward to now, I recently lifted 55 kgs in a single deadlift. Now, I know that it's not much. Maybe I can go up to 100 at some point. But for that kid crying in a hotel room in Benin, I'll take it as a win. Now, we've all heard about this concept of neuroplasticity. It's a buzzword now. Everyone talks about it, right? But I'll break it down for you. What neuroplasticity exactly is imagine a brain to be an ocean. And these different skills are islands. So whenever you have to learn something, the boat goes from one island to another. It's a synapse. First time it does it, the brain is very uncomfortable. It hates it. But over time, the more number of times you practice it, it becomes more easy. Now here's the kicker. The brain wants to use less effort per unit energy. So what it really does is it starts developing shortcuts. And then it uses templates from one skill it learns to another, and then it transports it to another, and so you start learning unrelated skills quite easily. So maybe effort is not, or maybe learning is not about just accumulating more information. It's about being flexible and creative with this information and being more creative with problem solving. So going back, fitness did not just change the physicality. It didn't make me physically strong. It basically rewired my brain to use this as an algorithm to solve other problems. So even today, I use this algorithm everywhere. If there is a problem at work, I first go back and ask, what is the exact problem that I want to solve? Then we as a team discuss, and then we ask the most important question. Can we go to someone for help? Do we have to do it all alone? Do we have to reinvent this wheel? And the most important thing that fitness taught me is that you have to structure it. You have to do it right. It's not just about getting the outcome. It's not about lifting 55 kgs at one go. It's about learning how to do it right. Now, that is the butterfly effect at play, right? Something that I learned just out of desperation, something out of just wanting to survive, became a skill to help me thrive at work. Now, everything that we spoke is about my personal journey. But I think learning actually transforms communities. I'll use this as an example. There is a village called Pabal, which is about 70 kilometers from Pune in Maharashtra. There is a revolutionary upskilling school there called Vigyan Ashram. In 2001, Vigyan Ashram collaborated with MIT, which is the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US. They called these scientists and engaged these villagers to learn, how do you say that? Like tech-enabled solutions. So it was not just like learning tech, but it was trying to find solutions to their problems. Now, at the end of this program, what really happened is villagers learned how to make solar lamps, how to make low-cost water filters. But the most interesting thing here was 10 new business ideas emerged. 10 new businesses emerged. Now, imagine, Pabal is a drought-prone village. It has a population about 10,000 people. So what 10 businesses can do? It not only transformed a person's life or brought more money to that person, but it transformed the entire community to stop depending on rain for their daily income and bread. I know in Rajasthan, there is this incentive by the government to get more women in the workforce. But is that enough? Will this cycle of dependency end just by getting women in the workforce? I think it's more about getting women to train better, to upskill themselves, so that the cycle of dependency ends, so that they can compete with the wider world. Now, today, I stand in front of you, not as a TEDx speaker, but as someone who's been through it, as a fellow traveler, as a sister. I know the 20s are worse. I know we all hate going through them. I know that it is quite difficult to get a job right now. But what is interesting is, in our 20s, everyone tells us that please idolize these tech entrepreneurs who have changed the world overnight. They have made new revolutionary solutions. Anything big and juicy is rewarded. Anything small is pushed to the corner. Any small progress is avoided. I am here to tell you that everything that I learned, willingly, unwillingly, Excel or lifting weights, had a profound impact on my life. It created a ripple effect to a life which was, at that time, quite troubled. Now, I leave you with this. If the next time an astrologer tells you that you're not meant to do this, I hope you go back and question yourself. Is it just a narrative? Even if I don't master the skill, can I at least learn it? Can I at least complete it? I'm here to tell you that the butterfly effect is real. And if there's anything that you want to do today, I hope you ask yourself, What is the next skill you're going to learn? Thank you.